What's up, my peeps? This is the prediction game video for the street fight you're going to see this Sunday at Bound for Glory. It's going to be Bobby Roode, or as Chrissy Hemme would say, Bobby Roode, and you wouldn't hear the D and E at the end of the name, versus James Storm, and you'll have King Mo over there as a special enforcer. Now, if you're wondering what a special enforcer is kind of like a second referee, a backup referee. If something happens to the referee, he'll take care of it. He can count 3 counts or whatever. He can count submissions. Well, you don't count submissions. Well, you call submissions? Do you count submissions? I don't know. You get the point. If somebody submits, he'll take care of it. He'll tell the ring bell guy to ring the bell, and hey, this guy's the winner. He made this other guy tap out. So that's pretty much what the special enforcer is. At least that's what I know from watching previous TNA matches with special enforcers, unless that's changed now and the special enforcer is maybe the special guest referee and there's no other referee, he's not a backup referee. But I'm pretty sure it's still going to stay the same, and we're going to have, you know, your normal referee and King Mo as like the backup referee, the special enforcer. And as you can see, I've got these 2 new created characters, James Storm and Bobby Roode. I got them off Community Creations. The previous James Storm I had was too big, way too big. He looked a lot more muscular than the actual James Storm. And the previous Bobby Roode, I'd say he was okay. I just wanted to change it. The previous Bobby Roode actually had long hair. I just switched it up and put some short hair. Didn't really do too much editing other than just changing hairstyles, and that's about it. This one I got off Communications with the short hair already there. So yeah, tell me if you think these are better than my previous ones or not. You can check out the previous prediction game video and you'll spot the differences pretty quickly. Anyways, enough to talk about the video game versions of these guys. We're here to talk about real life, Bound for Glory, you know, this Sunday. You know, I did state that I think James Storm is going to win this match in the official prediction game video of Austin Aries versus Jeff Hardy Part 1. You can check that video out. I'm going to put an annotation right, you know, on the screen right now for a couple seconds. See if you want to check that out. So I gave my predictions there. If you want to give me your predictions, assuming the pay-per-view hasn't aired yet, you can give me your predictions in that video. And in this video, I'll go into more detail. Why do I think James Storm is going to win this? And I'm going to talk about both guys, go over the feud, talk about how this started or how this match you know, was announced or, you know, was made. So, first of all, this match, this feud, has been going on now for about a year. Bound for Glory last year, Bobby Roode was in the championship title match. He came up short, he lost the match against Kurt Angle, and then the Impact right after Bound for Glory, you had Kurt Angle defending the championship once again, not in a rematch against Bobby Roode, but against Bobby Roode's tag team partner, or former tag team partner, James Storm. And James Storm actually won that championship that night from Kurt Angle in about 2 minutes or so, because Kurt Angle was injured. So he wins the championship. Bobby Roode comes out, he celebrates actually with his partner. His partner even offers to give him the championship, but Roode refuses and tells James Storm that he deserves it. And then we have a number 1 contendership match about a week later, or 2 weeks, I believe 1 week later, with Bobby Roode versus, I think it was Bobby Roode versus Bully Ray, but I might be wrong on this. It might have been Bobby Roode versus somebody else, although I'm pretty sure it was Bully Ray. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comment section below. So yeah, we had a number 1 contendership match to determine the number 1 contender to James Storm Championship, and Bobby Roode won that. So we had Bobby Roode versus James Storm now the week afterwards. So fast forward to that matchup. It's a pretty back and forth matchup. Both guys still remain face during most of the matchup, and then towards the end, Bobby Roode grabbed James Storm's beer bottle and smashed it over James Storm's head and went for the pinfall victory and won his first TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And thus the selfish generation started. Bobby Roode had turned heel, and then about a week or 2 afterwards, James Storm got his rematch on Impact. Unfortunately for him, he got attacked backstage and bloodied backstage before the actual matchup by an unknown attacker, which ended up being Kurt Angle, who was mad, I guess, for losing the championship to James Storm. But James Storm decided to compete anyways and came out all bloodied and shit, and he faced off against Bobby Roode. It wasn't too long of a matchup, really, because of the attack on James Storm prior to the matchup. Roode ends up retaining in that match. And then James Storm went on to feud against Kurt Angle, so there was a slight distraction there for him. He had somebody to feud with, and at the same time, Bobby Roode would defend his championship against other guys in the meanwhile. A few, maybe months back, not too long afterwards, James Storm actually got his his second, I guess you could say, opportunity at revenge against Bobby Roode in a fatal 4-way match, though. It wasn't one-on-one. It was a fatal 4-way match. It was Bobby Roode versus James Storm versus Bully Ray versus somebody else. I can't recall right now. It might have been Jeff Hardy. Might have been Kurt Angle. Actually, I don't think it was Kurt Angle. I can't recall it at the moment. Maybe AJ Styles. I don't know. But bottom line, it was a fatal 4-way. It doesn't really matter who was involved, but I can say James Storm and Roode and Bully Ray were all involved in that matchup. Roode ended up retaining in that matchup. And then he moved on to defend the title against some other guys. Eventually, James Storm once again got a shot at Roode's title. It was at Lockdown, so one of TNA's biggest pay-per-view. It's the pay-per-view where they have every match inside a steel cage. At that pay-per-view, a lot of the fans thought, myself included, that James Storm was finally going to win that championship back and get his revenge against Bobby Roode. It seemed like the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity for, the face to finally get his revenge against the heel. James Storm actually came up short in that match. You had James Storm. It was a good match, but James Storm super kicked Bobby Roode out of the steel cage. A finish we've seen, a bunch of times when it comes to steel cage matches, people spearing or super kicking or in some fashion hitting their opponent so hard that they fly out the steel cage door. So Roode retained in that match, and it was also in James Storm's hometown. He came out in like a truck. I don't know, it just seemed like the perfect moment for James Storm to capture the championship. Now, once he lost at that pay-per-view, once he lost his championship rematch, I guess, or championship shot at Lockdown, I was thinking, okay, Bound for Glory is gonna be the time when James Storm comes back and faces off against Bobby Roode and takes that championship from him. I was like sure about that. I was just like 95% sure that James Storm was gonna be the guy to take that championship from Roode. And what better pay-per-view or what bigger pay-per-view to do it than Bound for Glory? Anyways, after Lockdown, Roode, he defended the championship against Rob Van Dam and Sting, and then eventually lost it against Aries. And during that time, James Storm kind of took a break because he lost at Lockdown. Disappointed with his loss at Lockdown. He wasn't in the Impact Zone for a couple weeks or a couple months. They showed some promos of him back at his home, contemplating on whether or not to return. He eventually did return at Slammiversary, where he did beat the undefeated Crimson. That same pay-per-view, Roode successfully defended his championship against Sting, and then lost it at Destination X, and then lost his rematch at Hardcore Justice. And then James Storm lost the Bound for Glory series due to Roode, so the whole Roode versus James Storm thing, where James Storm takes the title off Roode, was pretty much, out of the picture. It wasn't going to happen. So now it's their big match at Bound for Glory. James Storm, wants his revenge. Roode has cost him the championship on more than one occasion. And, cost him that Bound for Glory series, which is pretty much costing him the championship too. Now it's a street fight, and there is no steel cage, so really James Storm cannot kick Roode out of the steel cage. It's gonna be hard for Roode to be lucky in this match, for a heel to be lucky in this type of matchup. And you've got King Mo as a special enforcer. Now King Mo seems to be a face. I'm thinking James Storm's gonna win this. I'm pretty certain James Storm is gonna win this. After all that's happened between James Storm and Roode, Bound for Glory, like I said, it's a perfect moment for the face James Storm to finally get a victory over Bobby Roode and defeat him once and for all. That's pretty much the only reason why I think James Storm is going to win, but it's a pretty big reason too. I'm pretty certain, like I said, pretty sure that James Storm is winning this one. The only scenario where I could see Roode winning this is if King Mo turns heel or, you know, screws over James Storm and aligns himself with Bobby Roode. But I don't see that happening. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. With that said, I'm out. See ya.